You're listening to localwebradio.fm. Community-minded, locally focused.
Are you a hardworking business owner striving for success online? There is help. Welcome to the School of Internet Marketing podcast, featuring candid conversations and inspiring stories of online success. Now here's your host.
Hello, this is your host, Nick Jaworski, and I hope everybody is having a great day. I'm continuing my conversation with James Martell, founder of the School of Internet Marketing and VP of Product Development for Jam Media. And today's topic are citations, why and how they affect your Google rankings. Now, before James joins us, just a reminder that if you have any questions or require assistance, you can reach James's team at Jam Media and the School of Internet Marketing at 604-542-0747 and on Facebook at facebook.com/GoGreatMinds. James Martell has taught tens of thousands of business owners how to effectively market their businesses online through his ebooks, courses, live trainings and webinars, podcast, and speaking engagements. James, it is great to be talking with you again today.
Hey, Nick, good to be chatting with you as well.
That's a long bio. I'm out of breath.
I think we might need to trim that down a little bit, but it seems, being online so long, it just continues to grow. So we'll go with it for a bit.
The savvy listeners can look forward to future episodes to see how we change it. It'll be like a little game.
There we go.
So in previous episodes, we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about the surprising effect the internet has on small businesses. We've talked about how to check your internet online footprint. And we've talked about the 5 big things Google wants to see before they're going to give you high page rankings. And now we're talking about citations. And, I know what a citation is in a book. It's just, I've done research. I went to grad school. I'm a smart guy. But what's a citation in your world, the internet world?
A citation in the online world is actually very simple. It is simply a business's name, address, and phone number. And of course, the industry seems to be infatuated with 3-letter acronyms, so we call it a NAP, N-A-P, but it's really just the business's name, address, and phone number.
Well, who doesn't love naps, right?
Totally true.
Okay. So, of course, that's important, right? We want to know how to get in touch with you, who you are, and a phone number. But how does that come about, and why is it important that you know that your NAP is online?
It's a good question, and checking your NAP or your name, address, and phone number is critical. And this actually was first pointed out to me, or I learned of the actual problems with this at a conference. So it's got to be 2 or 3 years ago, back in Vegas. And I attend a lot of conferences every year, but this one was WebmasterWorld's PubCon, and it's basically all around search engines. And Matt Cutts, who's head of Webspam for Google, he was actually talking about name, address, and phone numbers. And he actually mentioned something, and he would know, being the position he's in with Google. He says 70% of the information that's listed in these directories is inaccurate. Businesses change their name, they move, they change their phone number.
Right.
So much of this information is incorrect. And let's face it, if somebody happens to stumble across your name, address, and phone number somewhere out on the internet, of course, and they do go take that step of reaching out to you and giving you a phone call, you want to make sure the phone number is correct.
Yeah, if I see a listing and it kind of looks dated, or I'm not sure what's happening, I just move on to the next person.
I think most people probably do the same.
Right. Okay, so that's why, that's important, right? We want to make sure that your citations are accurate so people will get in touch with you. But how do the citations impact search results?
This is a very interesting area. There's a few things to consider with citations, and really why they affect search results, why they're important. And number one, I guess, is these directories that these citations reside in. The citation would be listed. It could be listed in somewhere, like your Yellow Page listing online, your Yelp listing online. Mm-hmm. We talked about the internet footprint a couple episodes back and how important it is to have one. But of course, we also want to make sure that the information within this footprint is accurate. So a lot of these directories, the Yelps of the world, the Foursquares, the Angie's List, all of these directories, for the most part, are very highly trafficked. So one of the number one apps on a phone, on a mobile phone or a tablet, is the Yellow Pages app. Now, the printed directories, poof, out the door.
Yeah.
But the Yellow Page app is very, very popular. And if it's not the number one app, it's right up near the top of the list. So you want to make sure, of course, your name, address, and phone number for your business is accurate in there, because there's a lot of traffic flowing through these sites. And you want to make sure, of course, you get the benefit of that. The other reason is Google looks to the citations to help them determine that you are actually the business owner, and that's actually your website and not one of your competitors squatting on your site. So they really kind of look to it as well to verify, that you are who you say you are.
Well, and luckily we've come a long way. I remember back in the Wild West days of the internet where you really weren't sure if the result you were going to get was actually the result you wanted.
That's so true. And the same goes with businesses. You weren't sure. There was a time where a lot of businesses didn't even bother to publish their address or their phone number on their own website. So we used to call it was a lot of anonymous business being done out there. Whereas today it's important that you're right up front. You want to have your address published in the directories as well, and other locations that we'll talk about shortly, but also that you've got this published on your website as well.
Okay, well, we had to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, of course, because when we return, we'll be talking about how you can increase your citations. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Shopping for the lowest mortgage rate? Looking to refinance? Catch the Mortgage Newscast with Jared Dreyer on the Business Channel on localwebradio.fm.
Take control of your financial future with Sound Investing with Byron Stryloff, Senior Investment Advisor and Chartered Financial Planner with over 30 years of experience on the Business Channel on localwebradio.fm.
Buying or selling a home on the Semiahmoo Peninsula? Catch up on local market conditions on This Week in Real Estate with Lance and Connie Marples from Sutton West Coast Realty on localwebradio.fm.
Okay, we are back, and I am still here with James Martell, and we're talking about online citations. And James, are there any common mistakes to watch out for with regards to citations?
Yes, there are. There sure are. Of course, accuracy, we talked about that. That's important, but the mistakes that are made are typically innocent enough. They're usually made on the fly, and they really basically boil down to the lack of standardization. And when I say that, I mean standardization of the way you spell your business name and your business address. And a couple of examples, we've got an attorney we do business with and manage his website for in the Chicago area, actually in Glenview, a suburb of Chicago. Mm-hmm. And his business name is Heartland Law Firm. But when we went out and checked his citations, you would find it would be Heartland Law Firm as 3 words, Heartland Law Firm. You'd find his name spelled Heartland Law Firm is 1 word. You would find Heartland Law Firm, I believe, Incorporated or LTD. So there's basically 3 different variations of the spelling of his name. You want to standardize that. Number 2 is the business address. And this is where things can get crazy, because when you start looking around, you realize there's so many ways to spell it, to spell your address. So just take something, if you're in a suite, somebody would say number 202 with a little number symbol on the front. Some people might just put 202 dash and then the name or the address of the business. Some people would put suite 202. Some people may put suite number 202. So you get all of these variations. Road could be spelled ROAD, RD, RD period.
Right.
So it just goes on and on. So you want to just basically standardize the spelling of your name and your business address, and then if you do that, you'll be fine.
Cool. Now, of course, we just talked about it in the first half of this podcast. You go to a listing and it's the phone number is wrong, or they've moved. There's, Google Maps shows you an old location and they moved. And of course, then I'm going to move on and take my business elsewhere. How can I go about fixing a citation? I mean, Google is large. What can I do?
It's true. And you may be listed in 50, 75, 100, 150 of these directories. And you can do it manually. I'll talk about a tool in a moment, but you can go, basically to each one of those websites, and then they'll have a little area that you can set up a little account, log in, request a change, give them your email address, go back and forth and get that done. Needless to say, that could take you weeks, if not months, and it's the most tedious, time-consuming thing that you'll probably ever do online, and I don't recommend it. Or you can use a tool, and I use a tool over at brightlocal360.com. And it's a tool suite, or a suite of tools for guys like myself, or to the listeners who are looking to really build out their online presence, where you can put some of these tools to work. And one of the tools in their toolbox is a service, or a little suite of tools called Citation Tracker. And with Citation Tracker, what you can do, first of all, you can pull it up, you can enter your website address, fill in your basic business information, and then click on the button, create a report. And what Citation Tracker will do is it'll go out to the net, scour all of the directories for you automatically, pull them all into a nice, simple little dashboard for you. And by the way, this is free. You can do most of this for free within their 30-day free trial. Pulls it all into this nice little dashboard for you, and then there's within the dashboard, you can see the status of the citation. Basically it says got it, meaning you're listed in there. You can see the value of the citation, and they give them a ranking on a scale of 0 to 100. So obviously the higher the ranking, the more valuable that citation is to you. And then they also give you an authority rank on that citation. So, and then next to it all, there's a little button that you can actually click, open up the citation, have a look at it, and say, yep, this is good. You can actually, if you want at this point, you can then just click on it, and then manually you can update it. So at least you don't have to go through all of the, searching through Google to find it. This puts everything in a nice, neat little place.
Well, that sounds great. And of course, fixing it's important, but I'm assuming that the more citations you have, the more presence Google gives you. Is that a fair?
That is a fair, and the more citations you're listed in, the more opportunities you have to get found. So if somebody's looking for an accountant in Angie's List, or a plumber, or they're over at WebMD and they're looking for a chiropractor or a dentist, or maybe they're at lawyers.com and they're looking for an attorney who specializes in elder care law, you want to be listed in the appropriate directories for your category. So now with doing that, there's another tool within brightlocal360.com called Citation Burst. And you can use Citation Burst for two things. Number one, when you're looking through the citations with the tracker and you're finding a lot of inaccuracies, you can actually have the people at Bright Local actually update them for you. And they'll charge you $3 per directory listing, which I think is a bargain and a half. Yeah. I can't hire somebody to do that manually for that price, but they're completely set up to do it. It takes them about 4 to 5 weeks. They do it all manually. They go through it, and this is what they do for business, and they do a great job. So if you want to increase your citations, there's a couple ways to do it. One, manually, and in some cases you should. So if you're a locally based business, reach out. Maybe you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce. You want to make sure, if you are, they usually have a members directory. You want your name, address, and phone number listed in there. And every chance you can, of course, include your website address, include your Facebook link as well. Maybe you've got a local Business Improvement Association. I know up in the White Rock, South Surrey area here, we call them the BIA, and that's exactly what they are, the Business Improvement Association. You may want to see if you can get a listing on there. If you've got a reputable directory locally, and again in the White Rock, South Surrey area, we've got whiterockonline.com, been around for years. Great little local business directory. So get listed in those type